Hello students, I am Gunjan Malik Minocha, Assistant Professor in IHTM MDU Rohtak. Welcome to EPG Pathshala. We are studying the paper Managing Culture and Diversity, and today we will study the module Cultural Diversities, Issues and Challenges. The outcome would be, by the end of this module, you will be able to understand the concept of cultural diversity. You will be able to know managing cultural diversities, what are the issues and challenges faced. So let's start with introduction. Cultural diversity is known as the variety of human societies or cultures in a region or the whole world. It is also known as availability of multiple cultures in an organization. The more prevalent cultural differences which exist between people are generally the languages they speak, the dresses they wear, different traditions, the variation in the societies, how they organize themselves, their shared concept of morality, and final ways in which they interact with the environment. Cultural diversity is a difference of group of people from the majority. We generally see that in any culture there is a majority and a minority. In any culture, there are some basic standards in terms of social interaction, like maintaining eye contact, language, style of negotiation, etc. For example, American people stand about 18 inches apart when engaged in the normal conversation. They prefer to make eye contact while conversing with the other person, but same may not be true for other persons belonging to other cultures. As in this slide, you can see that cultural diversity has got 4 characteristics: work, population, personal and location. Work includes department, seniority, income, field of work and location. Population includes the ability, age, race, gender. And the personal characteristics include the language, the appearance, the health, religion, or even recreation. And location characteristics include housing, neighborhood, rural or urban. Now let's study the importance of cultural diversity at workplace. First, it can be beneficial for the workplace. People belonging to different cultures and backgrounds might have different perception of the events. They contribute their unique perspectives that helps the manager to understand and look at the problem from different angles. To make cultural diversity a strength, it should be valued and integrated into the policies and practices of the company. It is quite time-taking and die-hard commitment to understand and act according to diversity. It really requires being non-judgmental about the values of differences and being an open-minded person. Cultural diversity can reduce to the group performance without a strong commitment. Without the proper understanding of it, people can be prejudiced and directly jump to conclusions, and finally they can misinterpret the behaviors. Now let's study certain economic benefits of cultural diversity. The economic benefits are: number 1, brand marketing; number 2, operations cost; 3 is innovation; then cut down of legal costs and maximization of the collective strength. Diversity is helpful in increasing profits. A study of European Union Commission in 2003 studied the economic benefits, and it was found that the areas where diversity mattered are: it liberates, it brings together various cultures, it increases adaptability, there is a broader range of services, there is a variety of viewpoints. Now let's discuss them in detail. First, brand marketing. By having the culturally diverse workforce, it builds trust in the brand of the organization because you get a diverse target market. Operation cost. Valuing diversity in the organization helps in cutting the cost by reducing the turnover and absenteeism. It is also helpful in reducing the legal expenses. It enhances employee engagement and attachment by showing them that their organization understands and values their culture. Valuing diversity also gives the company a chance to select talented employees, irrespective of their differences in culture, and the long-term benefit of the organization can be met. Innovation. People from different backgrounds, they are highly beneficial for diversified target markets. When a group of different culture backgrounds people work together, they develop the better understanding of the target market. cut down of legal costs. Embracing diversity also cut down the legal costs because it will not have any legal issues with respect to the workforce diversity, since it is really illegal for the employers to discriminate against the employees based on their culture. Then, maximization of collective strength. In today's globalized world, where there is a free flow of people and brain, no work community can be monolith. The cultural diversity that people bring to their workplace is really enriching. Mostly organizations can take the advantage of the same. Another benefit, it liberates individuals. When organizations work diligently towards implementing diversity plans and make sure that each individual feels special and accepts culturally diversified office, then organization experience a variety of benefits. It brings together various cultures. Obviously, the culture diversity not only brings different culture people together, but also their practices and their work ethics. The amalgamation provides a new wonderful cauldron where there are new ideas, there are new energies. Diverse culture stimulates thinking and ideation process. Increasing adaptability. Organizations employing a diverse workforce in their team, they can generate greater variety of solutions to problems, sourcing and allocation of resources for solving these problems. Employees belonging to diverse backgrounds tend to reflect their individual talents and experiences in suggesting ideas that are generally flexible to changing market conditions and customer demands. Then we get a broader range of services, a diverse collection of workforce. It brings different skills, different experience, and offers variety of services for the customers, variety of viewpoints. It brings a large pool of ideas and experiences. Managing cultural diversity in international perspective. Well, stereotypes can create the destructive communication among people. Team members may be in prejudice against each other in case the cultural diversity is not managed properly. If an organization is able to deal with it in an efficient manner, then it can raise the performance, which result in higher salaries and bonuses. For managing cultural diversity, members of the team must be dedicated to one common goal. The sharing of that common goal will help in resolving all the conflicts which are related to diversity. All the departments of the organization should support culturally the diverse teams. Effective handling of the cross-cultural teams is one of the critical factors of a firm's competitive advantage. Managers need to develop the tolerance towards the cultural differences, along with acquiring a sufficient degree of factual knowledge. Cross-cultural proficiency is paramount in many managerial tasks, especially if a firm is operating on the global platform. Now, points to be kept in mind when you develop a team of diverse personalities. First, developing products and services as per the global standard. Second, communicating and interacting with foreign business partners across the globe. Third, screening and shortlisting of the foreign distributors who are major stakeholders of the business. Fourth, negotiation and structuring new international business ventures. 5. Maintaining continuous interaction with the current and the potential customers from abroad. 6th, preparing for overseas trade fairs. 7th, preparing advertising and promotional materials, which is same for all. Now, there are also certain challenges of cultural diversity like communication challenge, resistance to change, lack of understanding, feeling of frustration, achieving the desired level of efficiency, lack of proper training, lack of right motivational strategies. Let's discuss these challenges one by one. The number one challenge is communication challenge. Language, perceptual and cultural barriers act as a major obstacle in managing cultural diversity. The ineffective communication due to the above mentioned barriers result in prolonged confusion and reduces the employee morale. Resistance to change. There are some employees who resist to the changes by their behaviors and attitudes. They don't accept the change and the changing workforce. Here, they act as a challenge for the manager. Lack of understanding in the managers. Developing an understanding with the employees of different cultures is really a challenging task. If managers understand the requirement of culturally diversified workforce, then this challenge can be reduced. Then the picture is displaying the feeling of frustration with the other culture people. When there is a difference of opinion with the team members who belong to different cultures, generally reflected with anxiety and frustration, this happens because of the difference in values and culture of every individual working in the organization. Then, achieving the desired level of efficiency. Sometimes the level of efficiency is not achieved in a multicultural team because too much time is spent on sorting out the misunderstandings. Another challenge, lack of proper training on managing the culturally diverse team. Sometimes the managers feel that they require training on managing the people belonging to culturally diverse background. If a manager is not trained, then he or she might miss a lot of opportunities, which ultimately can disturb organizations' goals and objectives. Lack of right motivational strategies. Motivational practices opted by the organization are closely related to culture a person belongs to. What serves as a motivation factor is in one culture is demotivating people from other culture. So very often companies have a single threaded motivation practice and a fixed pattern of reward systems which is based on the norms and the values from where the basically company has originated. So when company expand to other cultures, it brings along its original motivation system. Culturally diversified employees might experience a decline in efficiency and employee satisfaction because other people might feel demotivated by the factor that originally organization find extremely motivating. Concept of inclusiveness in managing cultural diversity. Inclusiveness is defined as the quality of including many different types of people and treating them all fairly and equally. Inclusive organizations, they not only have diverse individuals involved, but more importantly, they are learning-centered organizations that value those perspectives and the contributions of all the people with diverse backgrounds, and they incorporate the needs, assets, and perspective of those communities. Inclusive organizations recruit and retain diverse staff and the volunteers to reflect the racial and ethnic composition of the communities. Inclusiveness culture can be adopted by individual person or the organization also. Now, strategies for increasing inclusiveness. First, we'll discuss the individual strategies. First, accepting the overseas assignment if offered by the organization. Second, by adapting to customs of new country and respecting their cultures. Third, learning the languages which are the other countries we belong to and learning about the new culture. And then we have organizational strategies. One of the strategy is offering specialized skills and training of other languages. Second, by encouraging employees to learn the new culture. Let's discuss the barriers or the issues in new cultural adaptation practice. The first barrier is parochialism. The international operations of some of the growing organizations are arranged in such an environment whose social system is different from the one in which the organization is based. Now, this new social system affects the responses of all the persons who are involved in that same. The employees posted to a new country, they exhibit a variety of behaviors which is often true to their new environment as citizens in the new country. They generally fail to accept the key differences between their own culture and the other culture. That results into not accepting the new culture and acts as one of the major barriers to culture adaptation. In a model on cultural adaptation given by Berry in 1992, the diagram displays there are two axes. On x-axis, we have preservation of own values. On y-axis, we have attractiveness towards the global corporate culture. In the first dimension, separation, which is called local, we have low attractiveness towards the global culture and we have high preservation of our own values. If we talk about the other dimension, marginalization, we have both the things low. We are low in preserving our values, we are low in attractiveness towards the global culture. Integration, we called it global, in which we are high on both the dimensions. We are high on preserving our own values and we are also high on attractive towards the global corporate culture. And assimilation, we call it global, where our attractiveness towards the global corporate culture is on higher side and we are low on preserving of our own values. Now let's discuss certain barriers or the issues in new cultural adaptation practice. First is eccentricity. Now some of the workforce may believe in individualistic approach, means that they place greater emphasis on their personal needs and welfare rather than the overall benefit. So they are more concerned about themselves, so they mind hurting the emotions of others. So this is one of the barrier. Second barrier is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is a feeling in which people feel about their homeland conditions the best and rest places of the world stand nowhere in the competition. Now this predisposition is known as self-reference criteria or ethnocentrism. Another barrier, cultural distance. In order to predict the amount of adaptation that may be required when an employee moves to some other country, this can be understood by knowing the culture distance both the countries are having. It is amount of difference between any two social systems and it may range from minimal to substantial differences. Employees generally show their ethnocentric behavior and judge conditions as per their own belief. These problems will increase if the cultural distance is great and it will not be so visible where the cultural distance is not so much. One more barrier is cultural shock, or we can also say the cultural differences. Cultural shock can be described as the insecurity and disorientation which is caused by encountering a different culture. They don't know how to adjust in the same and plans to come back to their own country, and if they find the new culture is totally reversed to their expectations, the situation can be its reverse too. That is, they find the culture as very good for them and they might start disliking their own original culture. Let's discuss the reasons of culture shock. Number one reason, different management philosophies, language differences, food, dress, driving patterns, availability of goods are different. People's attitude towards work is different. Connectivity and importance of friends and relatives in life, and the unique currency. Let's discuss certain examples how the cross-cultural differences may complicate the workplace issues. Number one, lifetime employment at workplace. Workers in some Asian countries enjoy a paternalistic relationship with their employers and they continue to work for the same firm all their lives. Sometimes it goes up to generations of a family. So it can complicate the workplace issues. Second, variation of pay for performance system. Well, in some countries, merit is often not the only and the primary basis for promotion. Like in China and Japan, a person's age is the most important detriment. But how do such workers perform when Western firms evaluate them using their performance? So the answer is, it will generate lots of dissatisfaction in their mind due to the changed promotion policy in the new country. Differences in union management relations. Like in Germany and other Western countries, union bosses hold the same status as top level managers and they can sit on the corporate boards of the company, but it is not the same in various Asian countries. European firms have different cultures with respect to employee equality, which is not same in other parts of the globe. Attitude towards ambiguity. In each country, there is a separate culture to deal with the uncertainty. For example, in some countries, some bosses give exact data, exact instructions on work to be performed, whereas others give ambiguous and incomplete instructions. If one person is not comfortable working with the minimum guidance or taking independent decisions, then they may have difficulty fitting into new cultures. In Western countries, the customer is treated as king, but Japanese find their customers as God. Overcoming the barriers. There should be a proper orientation of employees' mind that they can be posted in any country and the areas of the world. They should be groomed as per the global standards so that they can adapt better. The cultural understanding is required to be present essentially in the employee. Absence of it might be costly for the organization. Overcoming the barriers. Careful selection of employees. Looking for the attitude of desire to experience another culture should be checked in the candidate while the selection process. Second, compatible assignments. Employees should be allocated tasks and assignments in which they are comfortable. Orientation and support in the new culture. An employee should be provided right orientation and support to work in the new culture. It is very important. Right incentives. Employees should be given with right incentives for working in different culture or in the different country. Managerial implications. Becoming an open-minded person, being inquisitive, and finally not rushing to conclusions so fast about others' behaviors. Acquiring facts, information for dealing with the other culture employees. Managers should himself attend training on HR skills and also make it compulsory for all the employees to attend such types of trainings, because training is the only way which helps in improving the behavioral skills. A proper study of different culture is required to deal with people belonging to different cultures so that the knowledge gathered facilitates the understanding about other parties' interest, mindset and objectives. Learning of new languages, it can be a good method of understanding the people with reference to interacting to them in their own languages. Managers should avoid cultural biasness by developing an open and free communication. There is a need to change the mindset of people about considering their own culture as important and not giving due respect to other cultures. Then, development of empathy for others' point of view in a discussion to create the environment of open and transparent culture. Developing the cross-cultural proficiency by following the changes in personality. First, tolerance to deal with ambiguity. Developing the ability to deal and tolerate the uncertainty and the lack of clarity in thinking and actions of other people. Second, perceptiveness. Ability to observe others' behaviors closely and appreciate it without any hesitation. Next, flexibility and adaptability. If you want to develop cross-cultural proficiency, you need to be flexible. You need to develop the ability of being open-minded and changing as per the demand of the situation and time. Last, valuing the personal relationships. Giving importance to personal relationships along with professional relationships. Conclusion. Well, from the above discussion, it can be concluded that diversity in culture brings many advantages. A culturally diversified organization has competitive advantage on cost structures by maintaining the highest quality human resources. With the increasing globalization, the multicultural workforce is becoming mandatory these days for survival. To achieve organizational goals and avoid the risk, the managers should be culturally sensitive, adaptive, and promote creativity and motivation through flexible leadership in managing cultural diversity in the organization. Thank you.